Hey, all right, I'm back. We're gonna try this one more time. We're gonna try this one more time. Hello, hello. I'm hoping that you're all repeats and heard my. I'm gonna be drinking a lot, a lot. Okay. Hello. Okay. Now, there we go. Keep your fingers crossed. I'm gonna get her on. Let's see. It looks good. It looks good. Waiting for DL Hilton. Hi, Jerry. It's expected. All right, I can hear you.
Holy shit.
You like big drum roll.
What the actual, can I curse on your
Yeah, you
program?
can curse on your
What the
program.
actual fuck? We've never had trouble like that before. God, thank God I have a drink.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God, we have matching.
Cheers. I was not going to have a cocktail because I have my own show to do tonight.
Oh,
Thank you, Adam. Adam called me and said, "Do you want me to check your lighting?" Blah, blah, blah. I said, "Oh, I've done this so many times. I'm good." Adam's going, "Yeah, right."
See, Adam's going to give us a big "I told you so" because he
Okay,
called
I'm
me. And I
sorry.
was
I
like,
probably offended people with my language. I
he called me.
apologize.
Oh yeah. Well,
I
this is.
learned those words from Julie Andrews. It's true.
Oh, that's good. You
It's true.
did.
It's true.
All right. We're back. Thank you, everybody. We didn't
Thanks
lose
for
the
being
crew.
patient with us,
Do you know
people.
what happened?
I don't know what happened. I don't know what
So
happened.
I got to say, Adam said, I talked to Donna Lynn and I was like, oh, she's already
Well,
on.
I was on cellular and he had me switch to Wi-Fi. Was the last change I made, so maybe that was it. But I was on
Oh,
cellular the first time we did it.
oh, wow.
Who knows?
Well,
It doesn't matter.
I'm
We're
glad you're here.
together now.
I'm not doing your big re-intro because people are back
Please
that heard
no.
it.
Well, I heard it. It was it's pretty anticlimactic. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to be drinking. But I will point out for those people who just joined that you are the first repeat, you are the
I'm
honored person,
I
the
am
first
honored.
repeat on Get Sauced. And
I'm honored.
literally, sometime when we can be together, or maybe simultaneously, we'll make meetballs together on my
I would
show, The
love
Meat
that. Oh, I
Chef.
love making meatballs with you.
I
They're so
know.
good. He makes the best meatballs, you guys.
Oh,
Yes.
now I'm going to have to do meatballs someday.
Have you not
So,
done them on this?
no, I haven't. You know, everybody thinks it's a cooking show, but it's like in the kitchen, in Rob's kitchen
No.
chat. But I need to
I
cook
get
again.
it. Get sauced. I get
Get
it.
sauced.
Mm.
So listen, how
Wait,
are you?
before we do this, I got to give the plug for my show, which is at 7 o'clock on YouTube in the home office with good speed. And I'm going to introduce these two writers that most of our audience doesn't know before, Kyle Pucha and Kalani Kwepo, who are writing Missing Piece, the Native American musical. It's really, really cool.
And
So
awesome.
tonight
And
at
how do
7
we get
o'clock,
to it? How do we get to
YouTube.
it?
I think if you don't know,
Oh my
ask
God.
Adam, he'll know.
All right. Can you, but
No,
if
go to
people
our
have a
website.
question or if
Go to
somebody,
goodspeed.org and you'll find the way to register.
goodspeed.org. And what other I mean, I'll start here. What other we're doing,
We
concert series Get Sauce for now, and then we're going to go under for a little bit and kind
yeah.
of go in and reprogram. What are you doing?
So we have been doing since April, Great Speed. Nice branding, right?
I was on.
Yeah, you were one of my first. You were the second week, I think. A Great Speed on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock, which is to look back at some of our biggest hits. We use B-roll clips and talk to artists who were in the show or helped create the show, and that's been a really, really a big draw. People love that. And then on Thursday nights, we do In the Home Office with Goodspeed, which is me or one of my colleagues visiting. That's focused on new work. So that's a conversation with writers who have work in development that we're tracking, interested in. And we talk a little bit about them and their work and share a song or two. Tonight, we're going to share 2 songs and a monologue. It's really cool.
Whoa. And this is at 7?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. And we're going to get back to the new work in my
Yeah.
list of questions, but how is the staff? How are you? I mean,
Ugh.
I love what you posted. I'm going to say, for those of you who read your Facebook page, it's me, that you had this long post about, we keep saying it's okay, and it's like not
Well, that's
okay.
the thing. People say, "How are you?" And you say, "I'm okay." And that's a lot in that little word, because the truth is no one's pressing the life out of our bodies. We'll talk about that later. None of us here at Goodspeed contracted COVID. And, we're doing as well as can be expected in these times. So you say, okay. But the truth is that many people are not okay because not to jump right into the middle of it, but we cannot see the light at the end of this tunnel. And it's frightening. And we are, by our nature, people who are incredibly resilient. And to be in this situation and really, after 4 months, still not have the answers is really, really hard. And and it's not just us; it's many, many, many of the people that we love and care about most in the world. Outside our immediate families, that's what this business is about. It's about family, and so a lot of what I spend my day doing is just having this conversation with people. And you asked how our staff is. The truth is, I can't answer that question except for the immediate staff that's still on. Most of our staff has been laid off or furloughed until the end of the year. Those of us who are working are on partial furlough. And, all we have time to do is, keep our heads out of the sand.
Have you ever worked as hard? I've never worked as hard.
I've certainly never worked harder. I'll say that.
Harder.
I'll say that.
That's a good way to put it. And I actually been inspired by some conversations with colleagues like you and my family, some of whom are dealing with this, and my working staff. Made the decision. If they're watching, they'll hear this. I'm going to reach out one by one next week to the 11 that are furloughed, and just have a one-on-one conversation with everybody. I'm actually starting it tonight. Just because we don't know what to say, but I feel like being left out there, I've not paid enough attention to, and I'm going to reach out.
I mean, the last time that we had a everybody gather, which was mid-June before this big group went on furlough. And, we have close to 80 full-time year-round employees at Goodspeed. It's a monster. And so it's a lot, this has impacted an awful lot of people. And the last time that we all gathered, we did hear we need more information. But I think part of our problem, senior leadership, is navigating what do you communicate, because there's so much that is just completely unknown. We don't know. We're trying to do this, we're trying to do that. We're keeping balls in the air so that when it becomes clear that we might be able to start producing something somewhere again, we're ready to do it. But
it's so uncertain.
It's hard to communicate that uncertainty.
Yeah, I got paralyzed for a bit, starting with the COVID hunch, and then the movement into the movement with that tragic death of George Floyd, and then that ignited a really important movement. And I was I kind of got overwhelmed, but I feel thank you to the support of colleagues and my staff mostly. I'm finally starting to kind of, get back to, having confidence and really commitment, we're in a state at the theater. See, I'm already going off my script. We're in a state of reflection and learning. I'm sure you're there. I can't believe I'm just going totally off the script. We made the decision as a team really to not put something out there that was just to do something. That we wanted to be committed and we have a pop-on surprise guest who has no idea that we had the problem. So I'm going to interrupt us in a moment.
Time.
That's okay.
That's all right. Interrupt. We can come back.
I'm going to interrupt you, but I want to say that we've made the decision to make sure we know what we're going to do before we said too much. So we're owning that.
That you can commit to something that your institution, and by that I mean your board, your staff, and your audience are able to follow through on, right?
Cool. I guess I thought it was the guest, but it's not. Good. Okay. I don't have to interrupt you. I do have a surprise. I thought a lot about your pop-on guest, so I made a lot of it.
I can't wait. But did you hear what I just said?
Could you repeat it, because my staff will love that you just said
That's okay. That's okay. Because good. Okay, I'm happy. I'm here for them. We can't jump, because we need to react immediately, and many of us are reacting immediately, and we'll talk about what Goodspeed's doing in this moment. But we also need to create we have to commit to something we know we can complete, that we can follow through on. This is a marathon. It is not a sprint. I've heard that in many, many, many places, and I know where my heart lies in this conversation, and I just have to trust that if I listen to my heart, I will help guide Goodspeed to the place that I hope we can be, and that I know we can be.
Well, I hope I'm going to press you to share a little bit more of that.
I'll
It's
do
so
my
funny
best.
because you are, I said this in my post right about a couple hours ago. You're like the most real person I know. You always know, thanks, Donna Lynn, Freddie
That's
said.
sweet.
You are, I love about you is that you always been one to challenge yourself most of all as you challenge others. And I hope that we share that and that that I knew that you would talk honestly and real, and that our friendship and this is a new phrase I've learned, but I feel like we as two white privileged people
Mm-hmm.
know how to hold each other, and I hope that I learn how to hold everyone in my life that needs holding, and
Yeah.
and in the and in in the world, in the country. Um, it's so funny. I think we're there. I
Okay.
wanted to ask you some things about
If we have time,
reopening.
we'll go back. We
We'll go
spent the
back to that, but we're here, and yeah. I'm going to skip over COVID because we're here, and I
we're
don't want to
here.
leave here.
It's not
So
going anywhere. My guess is I can come back in August and talk about that again.
COVID, yeah. I think it's safe to say that the country, our theater industry, are undeniably in a place of reckoning. And I pick that word. We're juggling emotions as we navigate, like our own looking in our own like self-reflection, our own participation in systemic racism. I thought I really did. I said this with Randy last week, so I won't go
Mm-hmm.
on. But I thought as a gay man that I had an understanding
Mm-hmm.
about what it feels like to be a minority, and I've learned very quickly that that's not true. And
It's
we're all
no,
trying.
you don't know what it feels like to be black. I just
Correct.
don't think there's
We're
any
right.
way
Like
that unless you have walked the street in a black skin, there's no way that you can
there's no
understand
way.
what it is to be black in America. It's not
Right.
possible.
And yeah. And so we listen and learn right now and try to make choices that make change. And
Yeah.
and so how, if at all, and I'm going to say if at all, do you think this movement, this thing that's happening right now will result in real action, real change on the part of theater makers,
Mm-hmm.
theater leaders?
Well, I think
Oh,
what?
Eric, Eric is there.
Hi, Eric. I think that, like you said, I feel like we have reached a breaking point. I hope that we have reached a breaking point and that enough white people have said, wait a minute, I've never thought this was okay. I've never approved of black people being systemically diminished and not given the opportunities that they should be given simply because their skin is black. I've never approved of that, but I've never stood up and said that out loud beyond my own safe circle,
Yeah,
right?
that's awesome.
And so I hope that I feel in this moment that more of us have gone, wait a minute, what have I done? I'm 58 years old. Wow, how much waste has there been? How many people have suffered because I didn't speak out sooner?
Yeah,
It's it is a reckoning. It is a reckoning.
it is
But
a
we
reckoning.
also, there was, you said earlier that you get paralyzed, and I think that was, and I won't say it doesn't still, but this is the piece of what's happened in the last 4 months that has paralyzed me the most, because you and I have talked about this offline. The fear that you'll say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing or offend somebody when you don't mean to offend somebody, that you'll make the wrong step. And we just have to step. I know my colleagues of color want me to do this right. I know that. So, and I know that my heart is in the right place. And so I just have to step forward, and in the ways that I can. And I am not leadership at Goodspeed, but I'm part of a team of people that lead Goodspeed. And there was immediately, our senior staff looked at each other and said, we have to say something, we have to do something. And so we made a statement. It was not a statement that said we're going to do XYZ. It said, I hope it said, there's a problem. We're complicit in this problem, and we're going to do something. We're going to address that. We are going to get serious about addressing that. We have.
I'm gonna pause you just for a moment because
Okay.
Eric is actually my guest.
Ah,
and
that
he
bum.
stepped out of a meeting,
Okay,
and
bring him
he
on.
has really, if you follow him on social media, he's someone who has a relationship with us, and I so respect his point of view.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to pop you off. Do
No,
not go away, but let me
I'm not
make
going
sure
away.
he's there. Okay, Eric Uola, am I
Why
saying
don't
his
you
name?
go away and let Eric and me talk?
I could. I don't know how
No,
to
that's
do
okay.
that.
You talk to Eric.
All right. Have a
I'll
couple of
be here.
sips. I'll be right back.
I'll be here.
Okay. So I'm going to remove her. Oh my God. This is scary. Here we go. There he is. Oh God, we're back to normal. Eric, come on. There he is.
Hi.
Oh my God. Are you Dorian Gray? Are you ever going to age? You look
I'm
amazing.
really good lighting by the window.
Thank you for being a surprise pop-on guest. Why don't you tell the world, since I've been talking a lot, how you know me, how you know Donna Lynn, and who you are?
How do I know? Well, I actually met you both at the same time. I was you cast me in the production of The Most Happy Fella, and that's how I met Donna Lynn. How I got to know everyone there, and then after that, I actually wrote my first play during 26 Pebbles. I wrote it during performances of The Most Happy Fella because it's a long run at Goodspeed. So I wrote the play there, and the first reading was during the same run, and that's how they got to know me as a writer. And then I've been back to Goodspeed because I started developing what became Passing Through and opened up at the Norma Terrace this past summer. So
You had like a kick-ass production, developmental production, but it was
yeah,
beautiful.
beautiful. I want to go back. I want to go back to anything that involves theater live.
But I brought you on because I know you as an actor and as a writer, but I also follow you in social media. And I had said to you earlier, I admitted that I've quoted you, and you have a lot of fast. So if you don't follow Eric, follow him on Instagram because I feel like you have stepped up. You are an example of someone who's truly stepped up. And one of the quotes I quoted was, "Be the oh my God, give me the quote.
Uh, be the
Be the
change.
change, not be
Yeah.
the Instagram post or the post."
Well, I think that we live in such a performative world. First of all, we're all artists. So what is our natural instinct? To output things and to show things. And I think sometimes we forget. I remember, I'll give a really good example. I remember when everyone was posting that black square, and I thought, oh God, here we go. And I did it too, because I'm not crapping on the black square, but the black square is solidarity. It's I'm in this with everyone together, but it is not activism. It is not activism, and that's where I got worried that people were going to start saying like, "Well, I put up a black square on Instagram. I'm done." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Not done." In fact, I marched in one of the protests. I had the liberty of living in New York City, and I marched like 12 or 13 of them now, and which has been amazing because I said it on social media, and I'll say it again. I I I see America, I see religion, I see spirituality in these protests. I see humanity in these protests. And one of the things I marched with was a giant black square. I painted cardboard black, and I wrote on it, "This is not enough." To make sure that everyone up in the towers above me saw that there's more to do than just that, and we have to. If we just do these performative acts, if we just paint Black Lives Matter on the street side on Fifth Avenue, and that's all we do, we've done nothing.
Yeah. I really respect that, that you've taken the space that you have and really, really authentically, are doing. Are you putting any of your response into creativity, into your writing? What are you working on?
Well, so I'm working on a couple. I mean, I am working on a couple things right now. That's the one good thing about actor slash writer, man. The slash writer is keeping me alive right now. Woo! But I'm working on I'm actually, it's funny. On my meeting, I'm working with I can't say much, but I could say I'm working with John Tartaglia on
Say
on,
hi.
on
I
I would
love him.
on a new project that will learn the children, I think, and things that need to be learned. Um, And then personally, yesterday I launched a brand new podcast via the Broadway Podcast Network, and you can find it on iTunes and Spotify. And it's called "Do You Hear the People Sing? A Theater Person's Guide to Saving Democracy." And it is just what it kind of sounds like. It's. I mean, I'll be honest. It's very partisan. We are looking to elect a blue wave on this, but it's to allow. I've learned that and met a lot of theater people that are scared of activism, that they talk about it and they go, oh, I'm scared about either being blacklisted or maybe about being, how do I do it right, or being too performative. And so this is, it's a limited series, and it goes every other week up until the election. And you can subscribe to it. And every week we give you an action plan, and then we give you an inspirational artist / activist, someone really big that has done it before, so that you feel comfortable, you know they've been there. So for our inaugural episode, the episode's called Why Activism? And I just kind of basically tell my story on how I got involved in activism, what we're going to do in the following weeks. And then my first guest is Javier Munoz from Hamilton and In the Heights.
Wow.
Talk about somebody that walks the walk. He makes me seem lazy.
So if people are interested in this, amazing. If you like, how do we find it? How do we get to that?
iTunes, and you can go to Spotify.
iTunes, Spotify, and what?
And you can subscribe there. You can go listen to it on the Broadway podcast.
Subscribe to what? I just want to underline it. So,
subscribe to Do You Hear the People Sing? A Theater Guide to Saving Democracy. If you go to any of those platforms, iTunes, Spotify, just type in Do You Hear the People Sing? On Spotify, I hear you have to add in the word podcast after.
Okay.
And then you can subscribe there, and please rate if you want to give it a good rating. If not, don't rate.
You are amazing. I had to get back to DL, but listen, it sounds like we could have a whole conversation someday, hint, hint. But I will say this. I so love and respect you, and we are, can you pin it? Can somebody pin it? Do you know how to pin it? I have no idea what pinning means. All right. My team, this beautiful Lady D runs. Well, oh, do you hear the people saying, thank you?
Yeah.
Good, thank you so much. I want to say that one of the things we're doing that no one knows yet, just this small group of people, is that we're going to up our game, and that's what I'm going to talk to DL about with developmental work. And I know that you are not a new voice, but a real emerging voice. So I invite you to call me and my team, and let's talk. And I hope that maybe someday soon we can be a space for you. And I'm saying it on Instagram, so it's real.
I have no alcohol right now, so I have White Claws. That's so, God, how embarrassing.
So before I kick you off, what do you want to say about DL?
About DL? There are, well, this is about you too, Rob, honestly, about both of you. There are very few truly beautiful people in the theater that intensely care about this, intensely care, and that when you see, I remember Most Happy Fella, I'll go to you first. I remember saying, when you go see Most Happy Fella, you're going to feel love because Rob is love, and love comes out of him and out of his. It's true. That production soared with love. Donna Lynn as well. Donna Lynn, when you're around her, it is a deep, deep passion and love, and she cares so intensely about what we're doing there and what's being done there. And may we have more of that whenever we get back in the theaters. We need that always.
Thank you for stepping out of your creative meeting. Thank Johnny Tartaglia. But listen, I'm going to do this because you're here. Will you promise me, like when we're back in the fall, you'll come on and get sauced? Will you come on? So we can just have like a whole conversation?
Whenever you want. Let's do it. I'm here. I'm not going.
I love you. I don't want to press the X. Go back to your meeting.
Okay.
You're my hero. I'm so, you inspire me, just so you know. And anybody just follow Eric on, what's your handle? What's your Instagram thing?
B Ulloa, THEULLOA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I follow you. Bye. Okay. There it is. All right. Let me see now. Hopefully I can, here she is. Oh my God, we're doing okay. Thank you. Thank you all. I mean, it was a great, isn't he amazing?
He's wonderful. I'm so proud of him.
I literally thought, who's going to be a pop-on guest? And I've been following him, and he's the real deal.
Yeah.
He's the real deal. He's doing the real work, and and he really helps me kind of confront my resistance because I love and trust him. And he's like, and we can get buried in our work and our wheelhouse of work, but he's out there like doing it. So
He is.
we love him. Hi, Alejo
Hi,
Vietti.
Alejo Vietti.
So let's go. It's a perfect time, actually. So how do you think, and specifically, maybe our theaters, maybe theater in general, how do we begin this work?
Well,
How do you think we begin it?
I mean, if speaking frankly,
And what first steps is good speed taken? I'll add that.
I mean, we're behind in this conversation. Some of that is where we are located and the type of work that is our brand. But I can't blame it all on that. Most of it is that we just haven't gotten serious about doing, and I don't want to use the word work, about doing what we need to do to make room.
Oh, it's interesting.
And to engage diverse voices. And so immediately following Mr. Floyd's death, which is just tragic that it took something like that to make all of us get off our asses. But we have established a new racial equity task force made up of board members and staff members. We had our first meeting a couple of weeks ago. We feel that the first thing we need to do is a lot of education because we're not even sure that we know how to have this conversation productively. I mean, we can do this. This we can do, but we need to come out of every conversation with some action, I think,
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so we're looking at identifying someone to help us facilitate the conversation.
We're doing the
because
same
there's
thing.
nobody on our staff. There's nobody on our staff who has the credentials to help us manage this conversation productively. So that's the first thing that we're doing. In the meantime, and you and I are going to talk about it, I hope, before we have to pop off. We have access. We know a lot of writers of color, a lot of artists of color. We've done some work that I'm really proud of in the last few years with diverse casting. And the Colony and the Festival of New Musicals has introduced us to a lot of writers of color. And so I have immediately just made it a priority to elevate those voices. So on the 2 engagements that we're doing weekly, I try very hard not to go a week without at least one of those engagements involving a person of color, a writer of color, a performer of color.
That's awesome.
Because they're there. You don't have to scratch very hard to uncover them.
Is, there's that first moment of like, because I've also have a history with major collaborations with Lady Day and Ella, which I conceived. And I questioned it all. Like I really kind of questioned it all.
You and I have not. I'm sorry.
Oh, what?
No, I was talking over you.
Oh, look at you and I are like we're twins. But I just wanted to say,
we have not talked.
I'm going to finish this thought.
What
I'm trying to do is not use that to protect me from the work. To not say, well, I have done this, because we have, but it's so clear that we haven't done enough.
Right.
And that we haven't done it with enough, I don't know, commitment's not even the right word.
Intention. I mean, I think we need to set a goal. I don't know what it is, but, we need to say in 5 years, this is what our staff, our company members, our creative teams, and our audience will look like. Because if we don't set a goal, I don't know that we'll get there.
And what we've learned from some conversations, like we're doing other conversations that have led to other conversations, but a really awesome consultants, use the word, systemic racism is so baked in. We don't even recognize it. Like we don't even recognize it.
I don't buy that.
I don't
buy that.
I don't know. I feel like
I don't understand that. Let me say, I don't understand that.
I don't understand.
I mean, I don't understand people saying we don't recognize it. Really?
Well, okay, I'm going to own something right here. My staff's going to kill me, but the fact that I, with great passion, directed American Son. There we go. Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. American Son. And I went forward with this awesome cast. Amy just got acknowledged by Connecticut Critics Circle. But the show.
Our dog got acknowledged. The dog. Thanks, Connecticut Critics Circle.
Ooh, she's drinking. It's getting real, kids. It's getting real.
Sorry, I interrupted your American Son.
But no, but I had a completely white creative team, and they were amazing.
Of course
Like,
they were.
they were amazing, but that's something like
But that's
I'm a smart, educated man, and
and you
the
didn't
fact that
recognize
I
that.
didn't like catch that is bad.
Yeah.
It's just bad.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It's
Yes, it
bad.
is.
And
Yeah.
it's like comfort and collaboration shorthand. But so I'll speak for myself. Like, and it wasn't like intentional. I didn't try to not.
Of course not.
It's just I went to what's comfortable. And the fact that, you know, that happened is a real eye opener for me. So anyway.
I mean, you had one, you sent me a little, this is the kind of thing we'll talk about tonight. And you had, you know, what is your, I didn't want, you had a comment about what is your connection to this movie? You know, what is,
Yeah. I want to
I guess, what is your history with race is how I interpreted that.
Reaction. You said earlier, I have a personal reaction, and I hope my heart will lead me to the right choices.
Well, so, I mean, I grew up in North Carolina. I went to completely integrated schools. You know, 50% of my classmates were Black. That was my reality until I came to Connecticut. You know,
how many percent? What's the percent?
50%, half my class was Black. You know, half my good friends in school were Black. And no, we didn't hang out together after school, and that is, you know, systemic. But I cared. You know, we were good friends. You know, I just went to my 30th reunion, and I was so glad to see so many people. I came to Connecticut, and this is true. We had lived here for several months, and I was driving home one afternoon, and I met a car. It was a blue station wagon, and there was a Black man driving the car. And I was like, because I hadn't seen a Black person in so long. And I went home, and I said to Jay, this is 32, 33 years ago. I said to Jay, I saw a Black man driving a blue station wagon today. You know, I felt like I had seen a family member because I hadn't seen a person of color in East Haddam in weeks. It just didn't happen. And so I think that there has to be, you know, I was aware of that. And I have lived my life in rural Connecticut aware of that. And I've worked my career at Goodspeed aware of that. And that doesn't, you know, I think in many ways that makes my complicity even worse than yours because I had a different experience. Yeah.
Oh, you must unpack. This is Haiti. You must unpack why they didn't come home with you and whether or not those folks are close to you today.
My Black friends from school?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of them was actually supposed to be here visiting me a couple of weeks ago. And I've been texting a lot with another one that I've kept in close touch with over the years. This was a roommate in college. And whenever one of these awful things happens, we kind of find one another because I think he knows.
Do you know what's interesting? If I may, I know
Please.
we'll have to watch time. We have to.
I know because I do
story.
have another show.
No. Yeah, but I was the assistant director on a production of Othello with my dear mentor Hal Scott, and Avery Brooks was Othello. And I've shared this story more recently and it was like a talk about learning moments for me coming from Milford, where my high school class of 240 people maybe had one or two persons of color in it. Mm-hmm. And we were trying to get a cab in DC, and Avery and I were hailing a cab, and he said, I'm going to go stand over there, 100 feet away.
Yeah.
You hail the cab.
Yeah.
And I said, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He goes, trust me. He goes, I'm going to go stand over there. Just put your hand up and we'll get a cab. And I didn't understand in that moment. Yeah. And he walked away. We had got many cabs going by. Lifted my hand, cab pulled up.
Yeah.
Now, it stayed with me for decades.
Yeah. No, my friend Greg.
That's a learning moment.
Yeah. My friend Greg and I went to the movies together in college. One Saturday night, nothing else to do. We went to the movies together. And some white guy made a comment. And I was like, what? I was ready to go after him. And Greg was, Donna, just let it go. Just let it go. Because he understood what the consequence could be. And this was 35 years ago. And I didn't understand what the consequence could be, you know. And when I think back, that he's had to live his life like that, you know, it's just, it's wrong. It's
I don't know.
Wrong,
I'm just
period.
Trying to learn and listen, but not be passive. It's tricky.
We can't
listen
be
because we're having this time thing. I'm jumping around, but we are deciding what of our actions. I'm sorry, I'm like revealing all these things, but we are going to create space for new voices in our space, and like we're figuring it out. But we're as a team, I think, completely dedicated to that. And you and Goodspeed have a long history of creating space for new voices
I can
in
send you.
development.
Yeah.
I know this is a passion of yours as a personally a passion. Will you be shifting any of that work in the current year as a result of this new
good
world?
question. Good question. In the current year, like moving into
2021.
I think that the new work, I'm just not sure that our commitment to new work will be able to remain as strong in 2021.
Because of dollars?
Because of budget. Because that, that's all R&D, It costs us $200,000 to unlock the door at the terrace. That's all R&D. And so,
wow.
And so we had made the decision to pull back some this year, and we had launched that new Worklight series, which was going to be much more elemental in its development process. And we felt really good about that, but it was still not cheap. We're still using union talent, of course, which we're committed to, actors, directors, all of that. And so my guess is that as we build the 2021 budget, we're not there yet, but as we finish up the budget, that the commitment to new work will not be able to be as strong in our initial phases of recovery. And that's not going to be 3 months. It's going to be a few years.
Talk next week
we should start laying that groundwork for people. Our theaters are not going to look in 2021 and 22 the way that they looked in November of 2019. It's just not going to be possible. But I will say, I'm finishing answering your question. So, but and the other challenge to us jumping on the challenge of engaging artists of color and elevating artists of color in this moment is that many of us are moving projects that had more or less been bought and paid for 2020 into 2021. So contracts have been issued and signed, and in many cases fees have been paid out, if not completely, partially. Once you sign the contract, you're obligated to it. And so none of us are going to be in position to say, well, I'm not going to do, maybe some of us are. I shouldn't speak for everyone. But I don't think we're going to be in a position to say, of the 3 main stage shows that we're committed to producing in 2021, that we can pull something that has already been partially bought and paid for. Now, as we move into 2022, I'm already looking at that.
Right.
A revival that has so much room for diversity. Creative team has to include diversity. A new musical that is written by Black writers. So yes, as we look at 2022, but part of the challenge for all of us is we do want to react immediately, and our budgets are not going to allow us to react quite as quickly as we'd like to. I just think that's a reality.
And you're doubly challenged because you're going, before all this happened, you're going through a leadership change.
Yeah.
And leadership change, and you is like you have 3 things to deal with now, like leadership change. And, I will just say this because you won't. Goodspeed is so, you've always been a powerful, my colleagues out there will do this, so you can blush for a moment. You have been our frontline person at Goodspeed, so they're so lucky, hear me, lucky to have you, because I know how hard you work. So I just want to say that.
A lot of people work hard. We have a lot of great staff at Goodspeed.
Of course, and I don't mean to diminish that.
I appreciate it.
You are only as good as the team that support you, and you have an amazing team too. One of them I delivered to you. Just saying.
You did. He's amazing. He's just amazing.
Just because I know you have to go, and we're getting to 5:50 because of that thing. But I'm going to. I hope I hit on the good things, but I'm going to go. One of my team members came up with we always end with a game.
Wait, let me say something first.
Oh, please.
Because there were some interesting comments that went through here, and I would welcome, I'm on Instagram. It's just at Donna Lynn Hilton, I think. And I'm not real active on Instagram, but if somebody has advice or response to something we said today or an idea they want to share, I welcome it. So just at Donna Lynn Hilton, or you can find me on Facebook, or my email is dhilton@goodspeed.org. Everybody always finds me. So
I don't know how we do
Don't hesitate to reach out if there's something that you think I need to know or need to hear.
Well, like, I feel like the partnership and as our art organizations kind of supporting each other. I've talked a lot with Hartford Stage and the Symphony, and I think that we talk a lot. So if there's a way we could combine some kind of interesting town hall, we should do it because I also.
Well, if you're digging into new work,
that was one of my questions.
We should talk about. Maybe we should co-commission something, or
All right.
we are good at developing work, so we could if we know it has a production, we help develop it, and then
I'll let my people
or vice
call
versa.
Your people. Kidding. I'll call you. We'll talk next week. But I want to end with the game because we always want to end with joy.
I'm not feeling very playful right now.
My team has taught me that, but I don't want to, because this is a conversation we could have for another hour.
This is a conversation we're going to have at least, you and me at least once a month for the next 3 years.
But before I do the game, because we're going to go right afterwards, I just want to say I knew you would be refreshingly, authentically honest, and that has been a learning moments for me, and I love you for that. I just want to
thank you, and I appreciate you pushing me, because my first response to this was
I know
maybe Michael will tell me I shouldn't do it. My first response was but I went no. This is part of it. We have to. White people have to talk about this.
We do, and
we have to account to one another. And
Nisha's going to be happy you said that, because she said, "Sorry, T, I'm going to quote you, like weeks ago. This is white people's work."
It is. It is. We created this problem.
Yeah.
We made this problem.
All right. On that
game.
Profound note, 3, we're going to play July 4th. 2 truths and a lie. One of my team members came up with it.
Tomorrow is my Jay's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Jay!
He was watching, but
so I'm going to say 3 things.
Okay.
2 are truths and 1 is a lie.
About the 4th of July? Okay.
They're all 4th of July rated.
2 are the truth and 1 is, okay.
2 truths and a lie. And your job is to tell me which is the lie.
I'm ready.
Ready? This is, the Declaration of Independence was signed on July 4th, 1776. The oldest annual 4th of July celebration is held in Bristol, Rhode Island. 3, Massachusetts was the first to recognize July 4th as a holiday. Which is the lie?
The first one's the lie.
I knew, because we did 1776.
Well, I do know some American, that is taught.
Yeah, it was July 2nd it was signed.
Yeah.
As we know. All right,
President. But why did you say the 4th? Did it not get to, I don't remember, did word not get to?
Well, I'm trying to move us along because of time.
Sorry.
But yes.
I don't remember why.
2 days earlier because of the printing.
Because of Pony Express.
The printing.
Pony Express is better story.
Presidents.
Okay. Ooh.
Here or there. 1 U.S. president died on the 4th of July.
Yes.
1 president died after a 4th of July party. 1 president was born on the 4th of July.
The party is a lie.
You're incorrect.
Oh, really?
The lie is 1 president died on the 4th of July. No president has died on the 4th of July.
But Thomas Jefferson and John Adams died on the same day. Is that true?
3 presidents have died on the 4th of July.
Yeah. But Thomas Jefferson and John Adams died on the same day. Is that true?
Incredibly, Thomas Jefferson and John Adams died on the very same day. Yeah. Look at you, Donna Lynn Hilton. You get some Michael McKiernan snaps. Okay, fireworks. This is a fireworks category. We're almost done. Washington, D.C. has America's biggest 4th of July fireworks display. 2, the majority of fireworks injuries occur on the 4th of July. 3, fireworks flew at the first 4th celebration, which is the lie.
The injuries one.
No, that's the truth. Washington, D.C. has the biggest 4th of July celebration. Is not true.
Oh,
all right, we're at 5:55. You have a show. Thank you so much for your openness, for your bravery, and kind of speaking truthfully and authentically. And we will have many more conversations offline and maybe many more online.
Okay. Thank you, Rob.
Break a leg with your show.
Thank you.
I'm
Watch
gonna
us.
tune in.
Okay.
Okay.
Good
I'm gonna let
speed
you go.
in the home
Thank you,
office.
Jay, for saving the day.
I
Thank
think he's taking a
God
nap.
we had this conversation. I'm glad we fixed the technical issues. You inspired me tonight. So
Thanks, Rob.
I'm
Stay
done.
well, everybody. I love you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Sorry for the stuff at the top, but I appreciate you sticking with us. Next week, here we go. Next week, we go to TWH, TheaterWorks Hartford's alum Royce Johnson, and we'll talk about the shows he's done with us, and in particular, that infamous one that made the news. I'll leave that teaser and what he's been up to in his own life and managing all this. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for sticking with us and coming back on. And have a safe, seriously, 4th of July. There's a lot of crazy energy out there. Trust the mask. I'm there. I don't know if you agree or not, and I respect whatever you think, but trust the mask. Good night. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See you soon.